So, if this is any indication of turnout tomorrow night, Ted Cruz is going to take Iowa. Thank you for this incredible, incredible warm welcome. Now, I know exactly why each of you are here tonight. And that's because you have a very important job to do tomorrow night. You have an important job to do for your families, for your kids, for the state of Iowa, and for the United States of America. Because Iowa signals to this country not only who is the candidate that shares the values of this nation, but who is the candidate that has the character, the integrity to lead this great country. And there are no better judges of character who look candidates right in the eye and form a real relationship than the citizens of Iowa. And for that, we thank you. So let me tell you two things tonight. One, why I made a decision for Ted Cruz. And secondly, why I fell in love with Ted. So let me tell you why I made a decision for Ted. In 2001, I made a decision for Ted because I found him incredibly, incredibly compelling. And I'm going to tell you a couple things about that tonight. I was raised in a very conservative Christian home on the central coast of California in a small rural town. My parents had some acreage. We weeded corn, we picked berries, we trimmed trees. My brother and I had a bread business. We had that business for about 12 years. We started out together, we competed. He tried to buy me out, I worked for him. I figured out that wasn't a very good deal and restarted my own company. I had a great upbringing, but I wasn't a big risk taker. And when I met Ted, I took a very small risk and was compelled immediately that this was the person I wanted to spend the rest of my life with. Because I could tell that this was a person of principle, of courage, that was consistent, that was going to tell the truth, that a heart and service for others. I made a second decision for Ted in 2014. Ted came to me in the summer of 2014 and said he was considering running in 2016. And so many people think, well, you're Ted's wife, so of course you had to go along. But I was working full time, we have 2 young girls, and I had the exact same decision at that time that each and every one of you do tonight. And when I first thought, should I do this for Ted, as many wives in the audience could probably identify, you get a little bit itchy about that. You're not sure that you should do all that for your spouse. And I realized after some weeks of prayer that I was asking myself the wrong question. The question that I needed to ask was, should I do this for our country? And when I think about the crisis that our country is in, economically, constitutionally, a national security crisis, and I couple that with the incredible man that I married, the talent that he has for God, for your state, for our country, the constitutionalist that he is, how articulate he is, what a backbone of courage he has, how he's fought the good fight and has a proven record. I knew that Ted and I and our family needed to do this for our country. Now, in closing, let me tell you 3 reasons that I fell in love with Ted. I want you to go home tonight with something that you didn't come with. And I bet that if you just read and look at the news media, you won't know why I fell in love with Ted Cruz. But there are 3 very, very simple reasons. One is that Ted is consistent. Ted is a consistent conservative, not a campaign conservative. This is someone who has a proven record. And when you go to caucus, I want you to think about not only what people have said, but what have they done. Ted is doing the exact same things today that we talked about 16 years ago when we first met. He's had 2 decades of defending these values, not just coming to earn your vote, but first making the argument, winning the argument for about 2 decades, and now coming to ask for your vote. Look at the proven records of what have candidates done on the First Amendment, the freedom of speech, religious liberty, the Second Amendment, the right to keep and bear arms, Fourth Amendment, our privacy, and the 10th Amendment, power back to the states. What have these candidates done? The second thing that I love about Ted is that he questions the status quo. Ted was elected as a freshman senator in Texas. He went to Washington. He did not take instruction from leadership in Washington. He takes instructions from you. Now, we have two girls, and they are the love of our life. Caroline is 7 and Catherine is 5. And DNA runs in the family. And as all of you know, some of your children resemble more their father and some their mother, and Caroline's just like her dad. And whenever Ted's home, or even on the campaign trail, he tries to take some time out to do homework with Caroline. And there was one night when I told Ted, I said, take this math worksheet and read Caroline the instructions, and Caroline, you need to do your problem set. So I went in the other room, Ted read the instructions, and I heard this little voice say, thanks, Dad. I've read them at the same time, and I interpret them differently. So she insisted to do the problem her way, and he did it his way, and they both came to the same answer. And so they had a wager all week as to see who could get that problem set right that week, doing their own method, and they met up again on Friday. Ted questions the status quo. He's not going to take instruction from Washington. He's going to take instruction from you, the voters who elect him to public office. And lastly, let me tell you the personal reasons that I fell in love with Ted. Because when you go to caucus tomorrow night, I want you to vote for the person that shares your values. I want you to vote for the person that you know that can win. But I also want you to wake up tomorrow morning and call 10 of your friends and colleagues and say, I love this man. He's got to win. I need you to go out. This is a person who is genuine, who's thoughtful, who puts his parents, his father, his mother, his wife, his children before himself. This is a person who, when he comes off the campaign trail, brings a bouquet of flowers. This is a person who, on my birthday, came to the restaurant at 11 o'clock at night, because it's the only time, and he, of course, was there before I was. This is a person who, on Valentine's, I was sure that he wouldn't have time to get flowers and cards, so I went out and bought bouquets for all of us, for his mother, for myself, from the girls. I got all the cards lined up, almost signed them myself. But Ted showed up with bouquets, thoughtful words. This is a person who, on the campaign trail, calls me in the middle of stressful moments and sings me Broadway tunes. I was asked the other day if he had a good voice. He chose the right profession, but it's very, very endearing. Ted knows how to prioritize. Ted is steadfast. When times get stressful, Ted gets calm. And I'll tell you where that comes from. It comes from the strength of his mother. His mother was the first in her family to go to college. She graduated in 1956 with a degree in math. Ted loves strong women. His mother is a woman of wisdom, of patience. She listens. She has a backbone of steel. And when he comes home from the campaign trail, they're often in the living room talking late into the night. And I can tell you there's only one person in the world who can still really tell Ted Cruz what to do, and that's his mom. And she's here tonight on the front row, and she knows that's true. So with that, that is why I fell in love with Ted Cruz. I hope tonight you do too. And I want to remind you, this man has courage. This man will always tell the truth. He will do in office what he says that he will do tonight. And Ted Cruz has stood with you. I hope and I know that you'll stand with him tomorrow night. Thank you.